Do you think there are more than two sexes?
I believe that there's a definition for intersex as well that I want to acknowledge. But sex is assigned at birth.
I'm just trying to understand. I'm thoroughly confused. So you're born, I'm talking about biology, male, female, and what else?
I believe that intersex is also acknowledged. But again, I'm not a doctor here. What I can
And
say
what does intersex mean?
Is that there's a difference between sex and gender. And I think in these conversations, we're conflating the two.
Oh, this is rich. Listen to this. Senator John Kennedy asked a witness in a Senate hearing a basic question. How many genders are there? Instead of a clear answer, the response spiraled into confusion and ended with a claim that genders are infinite. Watch closely how this exchange unfolds.
Gender, and I think in these conversations, we're conflating the two.
Well, but I want to start with sex, okay? There's male, there's female. When a baby's born, before the baby has had time to even have a sense of self, there's male, female, and intersex. There's a third sex.
I believe that is true, but I would defer to Dr. Lopez as I'm not a physician.
Okay. And how many genders are there?
I think the gender is expansive, and the definitions are always growing. Today I can tell you, I talk to young people that talk about non-binary as
more than five.
I think the gender is not a binary, is what I'm trying to say.
Are there more than five genders? I'm just trying to understand. Are there more than five genders?
Well, I mean, I think that there was a time where women wearing pants didn't feel like it was appropriate for their gender, and yet I'm wearing pants today. I think that there are ways that we express our gender that are expansive.
Are there more than five?
I wouldn't subject myself to naming how many genders there are, but what I can say is that gender is a reflection.
Number?
Excuse me?
There's an infinite number of genders?
I think depending on your culture, there are a lot of different genders that exist. And I can also say that it's a term that's evolving. If you look at young people today, they really don't lean into the binary of only woman and man. So I think that it's incumbent upon us not to legislate on this, but create space for them to explore what their identities are, what their gender identities are.
Let's get back to athletics. I think I understand what you're saying. There are three sexes: male, female, and intersex.
I believe that to be true, but again, I'm not a physician.
And there are an infinite number of genders, because gender is a mental state.
Gender is about expression, and I think that there are a variety of ways that you can express your gender.
Okay, so there's infinite number. All right, let's go back to the biology. Male, female, boy, girl, okay? Biologically, do males have an advantage over females biologically in sports?
Again, I'm not a physician, and I can't speak to that.
What's your real-world experience?
It depends. I mean, there are some people who are born male that I'm faster than if I were to sprint against them, and some that I'm not. Some males that are taller than some women, and some that are shorter.
You don't believe that a biological male has a physical advantage in sports over a biological female?
Not as a definitive statement.
Give me an example. Well, no, I don't think. How many female members of the NBA do you see?
Well, I can say that, there's been this news article about men that think that they could beat Serena Williams in tennis, right? That they think that they could actually score a point on her. And it's just not the case. She is stronger than that.
What's your experience, Ben? Male, female?
Both Serena and Venus lost to the 203rd ranked male tennis player, which they're phenoms for women. My experience, my husband, he swam at University of Kentucky as well. In terms of accolades and in terms of national ranking, I was a much better swimmer than him. He could kick my butt any day of the week without trying.
Okay. I just think, Ms. Robinson, I'm trying to understand where you're coming from. I think you lose a lot of credibility when you don't concede that a biological male has physical advantages over a biological female. I mean, I just think that's a proven fact, and you really hurt your credibility. I understand you want the world to be a better place. I do too, and I don't think people ought to be discriminated against because of an immutable characteristic. I don't. And I think that I think everybody ought to be free to be themselves. And what you do in your bedroom or what I do in my bedroom with a consenting adult is nobody's business. But if what I do in my bedroom with a consenting adult, if I decide I want to tell somebody's child about it, then other people have rights too. And I think parents have rights. And I think biological females have rights to be able to compete fairly in sport, in sports. So I really think you hurt your credibility when you refuse to acknowledge that biological males have an advantage over biological females. It kind of makes me wonder about all your testimony.
I need to know if I'm the only one seeing this, because what unfolded during this Senate hearing was honestly unbelievable. Senator John Kennedy asked what should be one of the most basic questions imaginable. How many genders are there? Not as an insult, not as a joke, but because lawmakers are expected to write laws based on clear definitions. And what did he get? Confusion, deflection, and eventually the claim that there are an infinite number of genders. Think about that for a second. Infinite. When pressed on sex, the witness eventually acknowledged male, female, and intersex, though she repeatedly said she wasn't a doctor. But when it came to gender, there was no boundary at all. It was described as expansive, evolving, cultural, and ultimately limitless. And that's where the problem begins, because how do you legislate something that has no definition? Then John Kennedy moved the conversation to sports, and this is where it really got tense. He asked whether biological males have physical advantages over biological females. Again, instead of a straightforward answer, we got resistance. Examples were thrown around. Exceptions were highlighted. But the basic biological reality was never conceded. John Kennedy pointed out what most people already know. Acknowledging biological differences does not mean you're against dignity, respect, or fairness. It means you're grounded in reality. And when someone refuses to acknowledge that biological males generally have physical advantages in sports, it raises serious questions about how policies affecting women and girls are being shaped. This wasn't about hatred. It wasn't about discrimination. It was about clarity. Parents have rights. Female athletes have rights. And lawmakers need clear answers before rewriting the rules of society. If we can't define how many genders exist, and we can't acknowledge biological differences, then what exactly are we legislating? If you think I'm wrong, tell me why. If you think John Kennedy was right to press this issue, let me know. And before you go, make sure you subscribe to the channel, share this video with someone who needs to see it, and drop your honest opinion in the comments.